kind of thing.
Do you consider in your prime as a player, do you consider you could have beat everyone on the competitive?
Oh yeah, of course. It's. I want to answer diplomatically.
No. Go wild. I mean, there is a space to go wild.
If I would say it, I would say what I believe. I believe if I was playing in my time zone, I could compete against every single player out there in a competitive game. Whether I win or lose, it depends how well they played or how well I played. But I definitely don't think there's anyone I would have been like scared to play against or guaranteed loss. That doesn't mean I would have beat everyone 10 out of 10 times. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Definitely compete. That's why I don't know how long some of the players follow me, but that's why in many tournaments I wanted to play the top player, like whoever was the favorite to win in round one, because for my time zone, for me to commit to a tournament, usually like even today, like we're talking, it's almost 10:30 p.m. now, and I'm not sure what time it is for you. So for me to commit to a tournament, I needed to usually stay up from like 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. if I were to make the final, like 6-7 hours. And often, actually, I don't recall a tournament I made less than semi-final. So I would, even semi-final, I would have to stay up till like 4 or 5 a.m. So I wanted to play the best player round one, because if I'm going to win, I will have to beat them eventually. So if I'm going to lose, might as well lose to the first round so I can go to sleep. And like the tournament hosts were not happy because like I would get seated really highly usually, and they're like, "Oh no, we play him later." I'm like, "Well, let me like." I remember when Soothsayer and Ondjage were like top of the community. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll play Soothsayer." Like everyone's like, "I don't want to play Soothsayer round one." I'm like, "Please give me Soothsayer round one." Like I consider Soothsayer overall a better player than me because of what he achieved and how many events he played. But I'm like, I'll play him. If I get to use elves 3 times in a row, I'll rate my chances pretty well. So, and if I'm not good enough to beat him, then I don't want to come second. I don't mind going to sleep.
Yeah, at least you will face him, as you said. So it's better if you play also early in the tournament, because you also will be more, fresh. So yeah, it's better. It's better for you. Also, there is a player from. Oh yeah, okay. Also, there's a player from Australia. His name is Lenorm.
Oh no,
Lenorm.
No, Lupi.
No.
Shout out to Lupi.
Yeah. Well, Lupi too, of course, Lupi too. But
yeah,
Lupi, it's like a French child.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Can I just add something to the previous statement?
Yeah.
So while I do think I could have competed against all other players, I do think towards the end of Warhammer 2, like really good players like Dino came out who learned on the previous games a lot, who practice a lot. So I just want to give a shout out to Dino because do I say like he came at a time where the tournament scene was like kind of like finishing up from one. He emerged once the good top players kind of retired. So I think his name would have been more known in the community if he competed like at the peak of Soothsayer, at the peak of Falcon, at my peak, like at peak of Ondjage. I just want to give it, like, I know he's from your clan, so I want to give a shout out to him because I consider him like a really good player that I have a good relationship with. I think he's would have been more acknowledged in the community if his timing of coming onto the scene was a little bit earlier.
Yeah, people consider the golden era when you were, when you were playing the Ever-Chosen, Falcon.
I think the golden era was just before me. I think that was just before me. I think the golden era was like Ondjage and Ondjage, Aerocrastic, and Soothsayer. Because those guys just dominated, and at the time I was just taking back seat, and I learned a lot from that. And then I guess another phase came when there was like Falcon dominating.
I
don't think that had enough competition to I don't know, to make him like an immortal. Like I would consider Ondjage and Soothsayer an immortal, and Aerocrastic like immortals in the community. Maybe those three only. I wouldn't consider myself like an immortal, and I wouldn't consider Falcon immortal, simply because when we played really well, like maybe there was like when I played like at top of my level, I would say I would compete against Falcon and Aerocrastic at the time, whereas Ondjage, Soothsayer, they competed against like 5-6 players at the time, and they dominated still.
Do you think at medium high level, there are now, or when you retire from the game, there was a higher level than it was in the past? I mean, top players are top players, but medium high, do you think the level is now higher than it was in the past?
I really think it's much higher. The difference between the middle player base to later, like too high, like the standard is risen so high, and that's thanks to all the streamers, thanks to all the tournaments, thanks to like even what CA did. Like I think the middle level to higher level, like the difference is not that much. Like mid level players can take off games of top players. It's not like a 3-0 anymore.
Yeah.
Even like Korean players, like Tutorial, like winning in some cases, like Chinese players as well. I can skip their names now, but like many Chinese players, Korean.
Hazy from China. It's a
yeah. That's one of the names someone mentioned.
So
I think the standard of play is definitely increased, and maybe that's why the dominance is not as evident as it was back then. Maybe that's part. Like I actually haven't considered it, and talking to you makes me consider. Well, hold on, maybe these players are better because they actually like better than the players from back then because they're competing against higher standard from round one. I definitely think, and a lot of I just want like. While I'm having playing lately, I do think there's a lot of new players coming up, especially like domination. So I want to give a shout out to I don't recall the name, so it's kind of rude. But
I would like to know your opinion about domination. If you think it was a good idea or a bad idea?
Are you sure you want to hear my opinion?
Domination? Yeah, for sure. Because I can tell you, I don't hate domination, but definitely don't like. Also, domination it's quite dead now. Before the
I'm gonna. Okay, I'll answer truthfully. Yeah, I think domination is a superb side mode.
Okay.
I don't think land battles the way in Warhammer 2 were ideal, but there was enough room for CA to improve them. For CA to improve them in a way which doesn't change them too much. So I think domination, side mode is a wrong word. A good alternative mode. Because domination offers what land battles don't offer. And I don't want to like stir shit up, but I don't feel. I feel domination is more casual.
Okay.
I feel like it's more like. It's going to be contradictory to how it actually is implemented by CA, but I do think domination is less competitive, even though it's more competitive to the style of CA battles, but it's not same level of competitiveness to the way that we, like as a community, we run tournaments.
Yeah.
So it's a good alternative mode. If like for me, like I really dislike domination, but if I played land battles and I got tired, I'll be happy to have a few games of domination. But because at the beginning of Warhammer 3, I got forced to play domination, it just made me like,
don't
like it.
Yeah.
If it was my choice, sure, maybe I'll give it a go. Maybe I'll like it more than I do now. But because CA kind of like, well, stuff you guys, we're not going to give you what you had for 6 years. Give you something new and you have to play it. Like that kind of made me like dislike it more than I should have. And because after they implemented the land battles into quick battle and what the community is doing more, like I dislike it less. But I respect people who like it, and I see why they like it for the reasons they like it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. Like the way I see it is like, I have what I like, you have what you like. Let's both enjoy it. We don't have to compete against each other as long as the alternatives are there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
CA removed what a lot of players really enjoyed, and that's why a lot of players that really like land battles really came against domination. Not so much that domination was crap, because it was, and it was just really different, but they abandoned what I liked in favor of that new mode, which made me like, well, hold on, like I don't like this mode. So
don't you feel, for people like you who like to kite and stuff like that, don't you think the domination mode doesn't allow you to play like hard kite, because you play for capture points, and if you continue kiting every time and he continues spamming new units, new infantry units with so much weight capture, don't you feel like you are not able to kite?
No, that's definitely not the reason, because like strategy can be adjusted, and if you really want to kite, you just kite differently, because I actually think kite is really strong in domination. You just have to do it really differently. You just go to your safe zones. So it's definitely not because of kite. It's more the fact that once again, this is coming back to what I said before. I joined the game because of tabletop, and for me, tabletop was about, I build the army, you build the army, we fight it out. So that's kind of like land battles, not modify your army halfway through or have your army teleport around the battlefield or reinforce. I feel like I don't want to. I really don't want to upset people who really like domination. So let me word this correctly. Like the reason I'm not a fan of it is because I feel like you don't get to use the whole battlefield, because you have save zones due to deployments, due to reinforcement zones. So something like a timer on when the reinforcements come out, so like you don't instantly summon them. They'll be like 15 seconds later. That could improve it. I'm also a big fan of not having a comeback mechanic. So like, if I'm dominating you, why should you?
Actually, it doesn't exist, this mechanic right now.
Sorry, not comeback mechanic. I'm calling it wrong, but I feel like in domination it punishes the attack a little bit, because if I'm attacking you near your save zone, that's why you see a lot of domination games are over 2 cap points. One person just gives up 1 cap point, the other sometimes gives up the other cap point. Not on all maps, but on majority of the maps, and they fight over 1 cap point because of the save zone. If I overextend my army, then you can summon like 3-4 units. If I flank you, you can just summon units and you're into flanking. Like, it's a limiting. Like, it opens up different strategies, but at the same time, it limits a lot of others. So for some people, they like the strategies that are limited, and for others, they don't like the ones that are limited. I'm in a group that doesn't like it. So that doesn't mean I'm not open to domination. I'm open to having it alongside improved quick battles. If CA concentrate on improving land battles and offer domination at the same time, gosh, like everyone wins. Like we can have tournaments on that one, we can have tournaments in the other one. Like, what's there to be salty about? You know.
I can tell you, people now is pushing far more for land battle tournaments. Also, there is a new mod for land battles. It's now testing how it works. It's like land battles, but with one capture point, really a small capture point, just to prevent the draw kite and
This is exactly what what everyone, basically what all land battle fanatics have been asking a way to prevent corner camping and a way to prevent draw kiting.
Yeah.
And the new mode is exactly the reason why I'm saying I'll be back, because the new mode is something that interests me, something that interests the way I enjoy the game. And I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope you can give a link to it, and shout out to Amayas.
Oh, sure. Sure. I will share.
Shout out to Amayas for working on it relentlessly, and for all the people involved in it. So I'm really looking for where it goes. It still needs to be more playtest on what can be improved on it. I actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I'll say it anyway. I actually I got invited by Alfredino this week or last week to join exclusive group which actually works on that mod. So I'll be giving my feedback on it and help improve it. And yeah, that's main reason why I'm looking to be back to streaming, to playing tournaments, because of that mode. And if I enjoy the mode and I get tired, sometimes I'll play domination events, just something new. This is what I feel like should be the objective. Like we play what we like, but we can enjoy everything if we need a pick.
So talking about you was talking about come back to stream some games on Twitch. I would like to know also about future content. I have two questions about this. What is the content of DLC, future DLC you wish the most? Could be race pack or lore pack.
DLC.
So, some content that you think, when you think about it, you wish that. I mean, you need to play.
So I wish they did a balance patch. I'll pay for I'll pay like money for a balance patch and like a tournament pack. So we have like a lot of new maps, both for domination and land battles.
Yeah.
I'll pay a lot of money for even just for maps alone. And then followed up implementing a mod, that would be good. But okay, being more realistic, what CA could achieve. I think they need to. I have a good one. I wish all races had same amount of regiments of renown.
Okay.
So I think greenskins or Empire have the most, or Vampire counts. I'm not sure. I wish all races had same amount.
Lizardmen and probably Skaven, maybe.
Yeah, I wish all races had same amount of regiments of renown, so it's fair. So I wish for like a Dogs of War DLC but not like Dogs of War DLC, but also so only some races can use some of the Dogs of War units. So in the end, all races can have same amount of DLC, and then you have Dogs of War as a faction of their own. I think that would be really good.
Yeah.
And Dogs of War could have like an exemption. They can use as many regiments of renown as they want. So you know how we can use free in land battles, or I don't know if they destroyed it or not. But Dogs of War could use as many as they want. Like that's the special thing.
It's very interesting because it was a mode recently released in the. It was very famous in the Spanish community because this was Tilea, who actually is a Spanish faction, we could say. And it became really, really famous, and people were talking a lot about the possibility to bring not Tilea, but Estalia, Tilea, Southern Realms, Dogs of War. People are really, really interested to see if this is possible or not. I hope Thea make this decision, to bring us some Dogs of War.
See, for me, like those factions that you mentioned, they should be for campaign. I would really love on campaign, even though I don't play campaign. But when it comes to multiplayer, I'm once again I'm like really old fashioned, and I think like whatever CA made, so whatever Games Workshop made should only come to light. So Games Workshop made Dogs of War in one of the chronicles.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So I think they should be fleshed out